Hello, Janet, and welcome to Who is
Hey,
Watching.
welcome.
Okay.
Yes, so excited to see you, Vivica.
Me too. I've been really thinking about today. It's a special day, and I want to share
Very.
why I think
Oh,
it's a special day, if you don't mind.
no.
Um, 5 years ago, I was sent on an Ascension trip to Iceland, and I didn't know that this was the time or the date. So there are no coincidences, right? So this was
Mm,
kind of, oh, we're in that energy again. And I can just feel that energy from Iceland.
yes,
So my
yes.
ascension was I brought a group of people. We were asked by Spirit to go to Iceland to do healing and ceremonies for the protection of Mother Earth's heartbeat.
Mm,
And we were to find a portal that would connect us to the sister planet of Mother Earth,
wow.
which is known to us as Tresna Imperium. And so we actually managed to manifest that without even knowing where to find it. And I mean, Iceland is not that huge, but having a group of people sitting in these monster trucks because we needed to go where people hadn't gone before is kind of
Mhm.
wild nature. And it's just amazing how the guidance of spirit, it was kind of like an initiation of the ascension. So, where are we going to find the path? Would we listen to our souls? Would we listen to the guidance of spirit? Would we find it? And yes, we did. And I just wish I had some pictures to show you. I do have a lot of pictures. I didn't think of bringing them because I didn't know before a couple of hours ago that
Yep,
this is the day.
it's okay. You could
So
get them
I
for
was
later. Yes,
yeah, I just wanted to share that because I think it's such a powerful moment for us to be talking about ascension.
yes, and yes. And now, didn't you write a book from that moment? Did that come from that
The
experience?
fun part, yes, I love. Thank you for asking, Janet, because I wanted to share that. So let me just, first of all, just real quickly show the book. This is Awaken to the Power of the Universe. So I channeled this book back in 2012. And
Wow.
so we actually, the Norwegian version came out in 2012, I think. But anyway, this one was self published. So it's on Amazon in 2014. Everything of this, never written a book in my life, didn't know how to do it, was all guided by spirit. Okay. So what we did, I sat with a group of people for a year. We channeled regularly, like several times a month, and they would receive messages, guidance from
Wow.
five-dimensional beings, high
Mm,
vibration beings. And I would channel that for them, and we would together kind of navigate all the energies. And as we evolved, our souls evolved and we accepted more and more of that ascension part of us,
mhm, mhm,
we received more guidance. And they actually started to ask us to travel to different places, to place
mhm, mhm.
crystals, to do our healing work, to have ceremonies.
Yep,
And
yep.
actually, that's in the book. So they teach us about Tresna, or they mention Tresna. So this book, I didn't even think about it, Janet, that book is actually a recipe for ascension because that's what it did
Mm,
for us. I didn't even think about that when I channeled
how
it.
beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
and now it's like, wow, it's ascension. And now I
Yeah.
feel the power of that book is more, people
Mm,
will be more attuned to it, more open to it. Because I remember
absolutely.
back in the day, people would laugh at it because this is not something I wrote. This is channeled,
No,
and it's channeled from five-dimensional beings, which means you need to be on a path, on your way to ascension for that understanding.
absolutely. Yes. And 2012 was a powerful year for that to come
Oh,
through for you. You were very early with bringing that through because people have been talking about ascension since, oh, I don't know, way back. But I know for me, 2000, I was, aware of, consciousness shifting and, whatever it was coming, but I didn't know the word ascension yet. That wasn't spoken yet. But by 2012, Ascension was a big thing because we were supposed to shift then. That
Mm.
was supposed to be the big shift. But I've also heard that that was also hijacked, that date, and it was changed. So that isn't
Oh.
the true date.
Mm.
So the true date is now. This is the true date, what we're going through. So this is so exciting. I get chills when I said that now.
And
But that's
remember,
so
I told
powerful.
you, Janet, I don't, again, no coincidences. You and I have both been to Atlantis. An
Yeah.
ascension for me and going into the golden age. We're now being reminded of that journey to
Yes.
Atlantis or Lemuria or other, for
All
me,
of those
Tresna.
lives.
All of
Yes.
those lives are like flashing before your eyes, and you're being pulled to explore them, to discover them, to go into depth, to find the
Absolutely.
resources for the ascension, because we are really being called upon from higher
Oh,
beings.
yes. This is the time that we're meant to be here to do this work. This is why we're here. The star seeds, the ones, the indigos, whoever's, the crystals, who are here to lead the consciousness, the human consciousness, into the next level. So I know, I think, well, I used to travel as well. It's so interesting. We had kind of parallel things going. I wasn't the leader, but I was part of a group that we traveled around the world, and we did open portals and clear areas and help souls shift.
Mm.
And we were clearing the land everywhere. I was in Australia, New Zealand, I was in Cambodia, Vietnam, I was in all of southern United States, I was in France, southern France, I was in Egypt, I was in Israel, Jordan. I mean, I got around myself. So I know we were both meant to do this work together, because look at how parallel our lives are with the work we've been doing. I mean, you channel in a really profound way. I come, as I said before, I come through with a knowing, but the ascension work is so powerful. And I mean, right now we're so blessed to be what we are in this moment, and to be bringing in, well, we're helping to ground it on the earth. I mean, it's
Yeah.
coming in without our help, but we're doing it with the consciousness raising
Mm.
that we're all, part of, and everyone listening is part of this raising. And and it's interesting. I just heard someone talk. It was so funny. People give dates when they think that we're going to, they talk about the, what is it called? It's called the, oh gosh, it's, can't think of the right word right now.
Yeah.
It's like the amazing, it's like we're going to rise up into this whole new world. And it's a name, and I can't, the word is escaping me at the moment. But, and she was mad because this person put out a date, and guess what the date is? September 3rd. But, you know, dates are linear. This is our consciousness here. And so she was so mad because she goes, I don't think anyone should put out a date, which is true. People really don't, but there's all reasons of that.
But
But then
but
things
I
shift.
I can I can actually dispute that a little bit from the
Go ahead.
angelic part of it, because they are outside linear time. Everything is
Mhm,
outside.
mhm,
So the
mhm.
linear time is for us to prepare, to be open, to be aware. It's more like a signal sometimes given for us to pay attention. It's not like set in stone, but it is helping people to acknowledge the energies that are shifting, whatever is coming from the universe, to actually tune inwards and to look outside and inside ourselves to find if we're in alignment with who we truly are for that ascension period. And so I
Yes,
believe
yes.
that whatever the date, I even though I hear dates, I don't react, because I understand
No,
that
no.
as long as
Yeah,
we're human beings, people will define, it's just a word, but the
you keep
energy
trying
behind it.
to. Yes,
So I
yes.
always listen to the messages that's
Yeah,
being brought
yeah.
forward instead of,
I
set on the date. But I think it's fascinating because you could see people, you can call it manipulation if you wish, if it's used in a bad way, but it is helping people to be clear and
oh,
to actually
absolutely.
step up
Yeah.
and do
Yes.
the work. So, from a good space, from a heart space, from a high ascension place, I would look at it as just a signal and kind of tapping into the soul, if you wish, into shaking it a bit and awaken it so that people can be more aware and in tune. That's at least how I choose to look at it.
Yes, yes. And so I pulled a quick card, and I know we're doing. Not gonna, I just want to read it because it goes in with just what you said, and it's not from my other deck. It's a Colette Baron Reed deck, and oops, I always go wrong here. It's called. This is the Porcupine Spirit, and this is the Spirit Animal Oracle, and time for the beginner mind, which is we're starting a whole new earth, a whole new golden age. So, what a perfect card, I thought. So, the porcupine spirit calls your name when you're being asked to adopt a beginner's mind and to approach situations with innocence and curiosity. The old confining stories no longer have a hold on you. Life is full of surprises hiding in plain sight. Look at what you shared just now, all the connections that you have to your book and your travels. Looking at the world afresh with new eyes can help you find what you have been seeking, whether it is a relationship, an opportunity, or evidence that you have all that you need right now to co create what you desire. Who
Mm.
knew? Porcupine asks you to be playful and have a childlike curiosity. There is so much waiting for you that you have yet to discover. So, I mean, how many times have we heard, ascension energy to be open and childlike with wonderment because we don't have a clue what it's really going to come up as. We have no idea because we can't put it on our human experience because it's so different and new. So, this is part of this beginner mind that I thought was so powerful that we got that. So when you said ascension to you is, can you tell me, what do you think ascension is? What is
Well,
ascension to you?
my experience of ascension, and I guess it's a journey as well as life is a journey, and we're souls on
Yeah.
that journey. So, my experience, not understanding that I was in an ascension part of life, what actually happened when I decided to use my soul's resource, which is to be a channel. So, when I
Hmm.
kind of not, I don't like to use the word obeyed, but when I decided and accepted, I guess, that how would you say that, connection with my spirit guide on a new level, which was new because he's always been there, but he wanted to step in, channel through me. And when I said, okay, I'll do that, and everything from that point on shifted my energy and my
Hmm.
vibration. And so I started to acknowledge that there are different vibrations from what I've previously experienced as a human being on earth, which kind of reminded me. And so it triggered that kind of energy that Sadius gave me, actually triggered my first experience with Atlantis, where I saw that I was his teacher. He was on Atlantis with me, and I was his, or he was my teacher. I was his, how would you say that? A boy
Student.
that was learning from him.
You're a student.
Yeah, I was his student. There you go. And so when I just decided that the guidance of spirit, because of the energy, you kind of fall in love with it because it is love. And it's
Mm.
just, you want more of that energy. And so I
Yes.
started to choose to do as a human what made me connect with that energy. So I channeled more and I got higher and higher vibration. And it's just kind of opened myself up without even thinking about my 12 chakras or how I was connected. It was just a natural unfolding of
Mm.
my beingness. And I could feel different parts of me coming alive that's been dormant. I could actually feel it.
I
And
can
so
imagine
allowing
that.
that to
Yeah.
come forward and doing that with other people, you strengthen that, right? So doing your ascension work with other people, it strengthens your whole
Yeah.
ascension process. That's why I love for us to do this together, Jen. Is
Yes.
I just
Yeah.
love it. It's such an
Me
important
too.
thing. And so to just finish up with that story, it's like I suddenly, when I started to get these missions, when
Mm.
they came forward and said, "We want you to go." Remember this. I want to share this. He said, or Sari's told me, you need to go to Sedona, Arizona.
Ah.
And I was like, why? No, you have to go. So in my mind, I told my husband, I said, well, Zarius, poor man, he told me I had to go to Sedona. So I was thinking maybe we should, since we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, maybe we should go to Sedona. And he goes, the States? Yeah, sure, why not? It's beautiful there.
Nice.
I'll go. And
Yeah.
I come to Sedona driving in, and I had only one night to spend in the hotel. And I said, it was raining, it was pouring. I couldn't even walk
Oh,
outside. You
wow.
know how the rain is in Sedona
Yep.
in
Yep.
October? I was like, horrible. I
Oh,
was like,
October's tough. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, dear Sadius, I'm sitting in this hotel room. What am I to do? I was just, give me a sign. I'm just here for tomorrow. I was like, kind of, the human mind going, what did you just bring your husband to do? And nothing is coming. And I was like, yeah, I have to have faith. And he said, well, we need to go and eat. We can't sit here and wait for them to speak to you. We have to go and eat. And so we went to this restaurant right by our hotel, and there was only two spots available in the whole restaurant, and it was in
Wow.
the bar at the very end, so on the side. And he said, well, lucky you, we have two spots available. So we went and sat down, and we just spoke, and then suddenly this woman says, excuse me, where are you from? And I said, well, we're from Norway. We started to chat, and I said, well, I was in Sedona, I'm being guided. So I said, oh, I'm here because Spirit told me to come here and I was going to meet somebody or something was going to happen. He goes, well, isn't that funny? I got this message to go here and eat. Just ask my husband. So here we are.
Oh,
And that
no.
was actually the founder of the New Age Center in Sedona,
Wow.
Anita Dalton. And so she invited me to her. So we had this huge conversation, and I told her that I had a group and I wanted to bring them there and to do this. And she goes, well, no problem. We can assist you in that. So why don't you come down to the center tomorrow before you leave, and we'll do all this. And so we got really familiar, and we did videos, and I got on her podcast, and we did all these things. And the guidance of Spirit just said, here you go. That's your connection. Next year,
Wow.
you bring your group. Now it's
It's
time to ascend,
fantastic.
to release. Or actually, we weren't ascending, we were releasing
Yeah,
low vibrations.
absolutely. Yeah, that's basically what we started with, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah. And the
That is
funny
so
part was,
great.
when I was there, I got a phone call. This is no kidding, in Sedona, from the New York Times.
Oh,
They called me and they said, are you at home in Norway? I go, no, I'm in Sedona. And they go, okay, well, we're doing a piece on Norwegian spirituality. The country's so
wow.
open. You have a princess that's very open, and we would love to, chat with you and have an interview. And I was like, well, I'm in Sedona, but I'll be in Phoenix tomorrow if you want to do a Skype or whatever. And he goes, yes, let's do that. So the whole that kind of journey was
Fell
all
into
guided,
place.
and part of the ascension, how I would deal with it. How I wouldn't
Yeah.
lose my grounding. I would be open and not freak out because they didn't speak to me. That everything just unfolded because I was being present. And so I
Yes.
guess the ascension part came a couple of years later, when we got the message that we were going to do our missions and actually work with energy and opening in
Mhm.
portals to assist Mother
Yep.
Earth and
Yep.
the elements of the
So
purification.
perfect.
So
So
it's just,
perfect.
this is what I've been doing. So thinking about ascension, I'm thinking that's part of life.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. It's part of life. And, we were talking about truth our last episode and how that was important. And we were talking about how we got to where we got. And I shared quite a bit myself. So, um, the truth will set us free. I mean, that's it came to me when I was thinking about, well, what am I going to talk about? How am I going to, bring this through? What are we going to bring through for everybody today? And, all those truths, the parts of ourselves that we are meant to show our journey so that people realize that their journey has led them to where they are. And there's no coincidences. Nothing is a coincidence. I was in Sedona myself twice, and it was in 2004 and 2005. Now, I went in 2004 before Sedona like burst into this huge amount of people that are there now. It was the little quiet town. There was no shops on the sides of the roads like there is now. I mean, it was so quiet and sleepy.
Oh,
And I was with an Ascension guy, and he had literally made an Ark of the Covenant. He
mm,
had made an Ark of the Covenant. This is what he claimed. And he brought it in to show us one in an evening. We were there for like a 3 or 4 day event with him. So we were there for a few days. And honestly, the energy was of this childlike energy. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was all acrylic. clear material. And he said you have to be very, very quiet and in from your heart while you're in the presence of this, because it's very new. It's just opening to the energies around it. And it was crazy. I mean, I'm like, is this real? And I will say the energy around this ark was very, very palpable. Now, obviously, it wasn't the original Ark of the Covenant, but it was his guided interpretation. And he had people coming to his door, like men in black and whatever you want to call them, checking it out, going, "What have you done? What have you made?" And he I think he stopped showing it to the world after that, because I never heard him talk about it again. We were the only group that he ever showed this to, and it was so incredible. And I just felt it was like you could feel the beauty of this child innocence from this. It was just very blissful, very peaceful, but very curious. It was such a different energy. I can still feel it. It still lingers in me. So that was an exciting trip, that one. And then I went, and the first time I went was with no, that was the trip I went with her. We went together. This friend of mine, who's one of my mentors, we went to Egypt together. She took a small group of 8 of us to Egypt the next year. But in Sedona, we went to the mountain area and by the river. And I remember putting my hand in the river and feeling the vibration of the water. I literally could feel it vibrating. And I was so amazed because I had never felt something like that before. And then I was walking along this path of the river, and I went through, like, it felt like cellophane or plastic. I went through like a portal.
Yes.
I literally broke through. It was incredible. I had never felt something so palpable. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what was that? And it was also new then, because this is like 2004, which things are still very, very new. And I just knew I had broken through a portal. We all walked through it. No one felt it but me. I could feel like this. It wasn't gauzy. It felt more like kind of like balloonish material. You break through, pushing through like a balloon, but you popped it when you went through. It was very interesting. Anyway, that was a tremendous experience. So that was another, just connecting to the energies of what's meant for us. See, it was showing me, I think, at the time that these are all things that's coming around for us. This is ascension energy. These are things that are possible. We can feel frequencies of the earth. We can connect to portals, like you said, like when you connected to Tresna. I mean, it's just so powerful. And then we went to Egypt, and that was another blow your mind trip. But, I'm not going to talk about that. But it's all part of the Ascension trip. But, so Ascension today, what is Ascension today? Like right at this moment, because we're going through, there's a lot of, I don't know how you feel, but I know you've been feeling things, and we've talked about it. I know for me, since we had the Lion's Gate and the new moon, but actually I have to say from the very beginning, in January, when we came through that 2020 portal in December, remember we came through that, there was a portal we came through as a connection, opening the real Aquarian portal. I can't remember what they called it, but that was it was like the 21st of December, right around the solstice. And then in January, I could literally feel vibration. I could feel like energies coming down to me. I would get dizzy. Dizzy. And so that was in the beginning of the year. Now, I haven't felt that in quite a while. But in March, I remember feeling, I don't know what I want to do anymore. It was like, I don't want to do everything I've been doing. It doesn't feel like the right path. So I went on my Janet retreat, which I took a week and went out to
I remember that because I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I went needed a break.
Yes. And I didn't know what I needed, but I knew I needed to get away from all people. Yeah. I went completely alone. And it was so powerful to just be alone and know I could be alone with myself, because sometimes you think you can do it yourself, but you don't really like it. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was just able to go deep. And I think I've shared this before. But anyway, so now we're into, then that energy was sort of like, you need to slow down, like just stop everything. Stop. And I know people are feeling it even now. I hear people talking about it constantly now. But for me, I had to start slowing down then. I was going to do a summit. At that point, I started sending out all kinds of info, and I knew I couldn't do it. No. And then I tried again, just like this past month, to do another summit, and I could not do it. I'm like, I don't feel this is the right moment for me, because there's too much noise going on. I don't want to be part of the noise. I want to be part of the quiet.
Yeah.
I needed to stabilize and be an observer and to take care of myself and to connect to what I needed to clear in myself, my shadows, whatever else.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of inner work, which we've shared.
Yeah.
So fatigue has been a big thing. Hot and cold in the body for me. Oh my gosh. Over the weekend, I was so hot. I was literally sweating. Literally. I get into the car. I'm like, I can't cool down. My body, I'm literally dripping. I mean, I was dripping onto my phone. I'm like, what's happening here? I couldn't control it. And then finally, the air conditioning in the car kind of calmed me down. Then another moment, I'm cold. So the hot and the cold is like this energy is coming in, the shifting of us from the carbon to the crystalline body is literally happening physically to us.
Yeah.
So if you feel like, I know I feel fatigued, if I need a nap, I have to lay down. Even if I don't sleep, I have to just lay down, put my feet up, read a book. Or, I've been finally reading books again. I read 2 great books over the weekend. I had just a quiet weekend. It was so wonderful. And I didn't feel left out. Sometimes people always accuse me of being, what is it called? Always missing out. It's the missing out situation where I feel like I'm going to miss out on something, but I don't feel that anymore. I used to feel like, oh, I have to be with friends. I want to be social. No, I needed to be alone and quiet and reading a book. And my husband was in one room, I was in another. I'm reading, he's doing his thing. It was wonderful. So, these are the things we have to honor in ourselves because we are bringing in so much energy to shift our bodies right now.
Mm.
And we're shifting physically as well as consciously. And so all of this shadow, it's dying in us. It's clearing up. It's leaving. But we have to acknowledge it. I mean, the shadow, we talk about the shadow. People don't like the word. They get worried about it. It's not a bad thing. It's just integrating it or, surrendering to the
Yeah.
parts of
It
us
is
that we
shifting the
aren't
path.
always happy with.
It's
What's that?
rewiring. It's just shifting. And
Yes. Good
it's
word.
just,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a natural way of life. As being human, we do have that part in us. So we'll have to acknowledge it and just shift it every time it comes up.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
people have become more aware of that. That's my experience with
Hmm.
this ascension period, that I'm people who's reaching out are very much in tune with their spirit and really want to strengthen that connection, and they're
Yes.
feeling stuck in the low vibration of the shadow work that needs to be done and to
Yes.
be released and shifted. But it's easier to use the word shift than reprogram, because it's always a shift in
Yes.
energy. And
Yes.
so when you look at it from that perspective, it, to me, becomes more natural. So anytime anything comes up, let's just shift it from,
Yes.
by acknowledging the shadow and
Yep.
bringing in the light. So you always end with a light and
Yes.
knowing who you are. And that's what is so empowering in this time period, previous to the last period that we have when I was on this journey.
Mm.
The
Hmm.
ascension now is that people want to connect. They have acknowledged. They are on
Mm.
the path. They're on their way. They're ascending, and they're just being pulled and hauled by old paradigms and these old shadows, and it is time just to release and shift it. And as soon as you shift it, you actually limit them, or you cut the energy cords, because you're not
Yeah.
nurturing it anymore. So you're suddenly free. And as soon as you're free, things shift so much faster. It goes so much
Yeah.
faster. So I
Yes.
love the work that I do at this very moment, because I can feel each and every client that comes in that books at, I have a Discovering Your Life Path session where we go in and we shift and we'll look and we tune, and I do some of the regression work if it's needed. And I could see that, Atlantis, Lemuria, all these energies from that are shifting in people and wanting to be expressed through their soul's
Yes.
resources. And that's what
Oh,
makes me
absolutely.
so
Yes. Yes.
happy.
People, yeah, it's so wonderful that people are finding their roots. They're finding their ancient roots right now. And I know for me too, I'm finding so much about my own. But, and so not fearing the shadow is such an important thing. Like you're saying, no fear. What we've had in the last
Love,
2.5 years
love.
is time to, look at it, know, that, you know, we've been told, God has been trying to be pushed out of our life, like God, source, the creator energy, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't call it religion. It's just love. To me, it's love. God is love, source energy.
Yes.
And they've been pushing this out of us, out of our everyday. Like in America, they sure have. I mean, they took prayer out of schools. They took so many different things out of schools that we're not allowed to even acknowledge that there's maybe a higher power, or there's something else that's part of us that we're not allowed to acknowledge anymore. They're trying to
You're right.
crush that understanding, which I feel it's coming more alive than ever, because people are turning inward in these past 2.5 years and knowing that they have to do their own inner work to reconnect with that source light, because we are the light, we are a part of source. And so, you don't need any other person. You don't necessarily need religion. I mean, religion was a man-made concept,
Yes.
and it was sort of like trying to take the power from us. Well, you need us. Well, we don't need anybody, to tell you the truth. We just need ourselves
Yeah.
to transmute our own energy. Sometimes if we're stuck, we do need help, of course. And I've reached out, we've all reached out, and I've done work for people, and I've also reached out to get help myself. But it's been a false light around us for a long, long time, and we're breaking through that. That's why when we can be in this joy, and when after we work through the shadow, don't I'm not trying to negate that, we can see what's happening around us. Like the lights start coming on, and this is part of the awakening process, that we start seeing, well, I'm seeing things differently all of a sudden. That if you start seeing that, then know that you're on the awakening, ascension, higher consciousness path now. That's what we call ascension. It's
Yeah.
that simple. I mean, the word has been around forever, and people are using the word now like in a regular vocabulary, which is kind of like another hijacking. I want you to know that it's don't look at it that way. Ascension is your personal movement into the higher light and connecting to your higher self, and integrating those parts of yourself that you weren't aware of, and that we're finally open enough to have that beginner mind that we just spoke about, to connect with the innocence and the wonder of what's next for humanity, that we have so much more that's been blocked from us that we're ready for, and it's coming to light. It's coming as we move more into clearing the shadow, and working with this light, and connecting to the light.
So
And
I have one
so,
thing that I would like to
yeah,
share
go ahead.
before we
Yep.
end, Janet, and that
Oh, is it already
is
time?
working
Whoa.
on the ascension of 5D. It is a vulnerable position to be in. We all know that.
Mhm.
We can all feel that. And so there's one protection prayer that I think could be of great assistance to anybody who's finding themselves now on the ascension part. And I'd
Mhm.
love to share that. So just it's
Go
a
ahead.
very simple one. It's just a request to the 5D energies that are working through us. So usually we call on the archangels to do this. So I'll just, if you close your eyes and just join me, Janet,
Mhm.
and for everyone watching, just join us. And so I'm just going to ask, I may Mother Earth protect our path on Mother Earth. I ask that Archangel Michael protect my right. And I ask that Archangel Gabriel protects my left. And I ask that Archangel Uriel walk in front of me. And I ask that Archangel Raphael walk behind me. And I ask that God Almighty, the source, the highest vibration of unconditional love, protects me from above. So be it, so be it, so be it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's how
Mhm.
it can be done.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
just be present. And I find it very powerful. It's simple, but when you're in alignment with your 12th chakras, you will feel the energy of their protection coming down, And I, like when I'm speaking right now, I can feel my hairs on my head just stand out. And I'm
Yeah.
just feeling the tingling of their presence,
Yes.
acknowledging that I've been asking from my heart, from my
Yes.
purity of who I am, and I've allowed them to protect me. And many people think, are we, by asking, we're actually allowing? No, that's not the case. It is like you said, Janet, we'll be talking about the shadow work, that there is the ego mind. There is limitations to not believing we're worthy enough for that protection, to be
Ah.
honest. And
Mm-hmm.
so it is so wonderful to take that, what you just shared of them, the limiting mind, and shift all those shadow beliefs into
Yeah.
love, and to ask when you have that flow, that energy again, just ask for that protection. And whew, boy, that is strong. That is strong.
Mm. Oh, it's interesting. Our video is fading out here as I'm looking at you. That's so interesting. Are we shifting now? Are we going into the bliss
We're going to the bliss.
as we're shifting, as we shared that prayer?
Yes. Well, I
Well,
think that
thank
was
you
a
so much
perfect
for that. That was
ending.
so beautiful, Vivica. I mean, it really is the perfect ending. It really is. So we're we just say goodbye to everyone and thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And I did surround us with light because we didn't say our new normal prayer, but I did do the surrounding in my mind. So everyone, we know that you're always in the light with us and we're always connected. We ask for that. And our intention is always that with this show. So thank you. And next week, we're going to talk about maybe our books. You have a book to share, your Ascension book.
Yes,
And
I just showed a
I may
picture, and
talk
I know
about
you
my
have one as
following week or
well.
some other time.
Yes. So
I
we'll
do. And
definitely.
mine is called Women Let's Rise, which comes out. It came out in, oops, when did it come out? 2019. It's not my whole book. I wrote a chapter, so it's a chapter, but it was my first attempt at writing. It was kind of a gift that I was asked to be in it, so it was really exciting. But anyway, here we
I'm
are.
looking forward to
So
it. And if anybody needs any assistance in releasing their shadow, whatever, Janet and you and I, we're here. Just you have our emails, or not our emails, but you have our
our
websites.
website here, yep.
Yes. So we're here to serve. Just get in
Yes,
contact with us, and we'll be at your service. So
yes.
thank
And
you.
if we don't come and if we're not here, after September 3rd, if we have risen to the higher dimension, then we won't even know that because we'll be in bliss and, we've ascended. So, if that's the truth, then we won't even remember this because we're going to it'll all be cleared and we'll be in the higher bliss consciousness and we're going to be in a whole new world. So
Yeah.
interesting, huh?
Yeah.
And if we're
Okay.
not,
So it's
it's still coming. Don't worry.
yeah. So let's end it the way we did last time with Janet. I love that. So let's have a party. Let's move our bodies.
Oh, the
Let's,
dancing. Oh, yeah.
yes. So don't, so whenever the music comes on, you stand up and dance, and I'll stand up and dance, and
I will.
anybody
I will.
watching,
That's
stand up
right.
and
We were
dance.
gonna. We have to end in joy. Keep
Yep.
that energy up there.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
Bye.